A special thank you to ThredUp for sponsoring today's video. In today's thrift store challenge, we are headed off to ARHAUS to get some much needed inspiration, and then we are headed off to the thrift store to see what we can come up with for a whole lot less. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. One thing that I really love from this latest drop from the ARHAUS collection are these indoor-outdoor kind of multifunctional pieces of small-scale furniture. So I really love these little tables that you can kind of fold up, and the ones at HomeGoods were still a little bit more than I wanted to spend. So at the Goodwill, I found this wood tray here for just $6, as well as this little tray side table that folds up that was just $2 at the Hartville Thrift Shop. Started off by just taking my shop vac and cleaning it really well, and just kind of taking apart this bottom piece so then that way I can attach it to the wooden tray. I used the old top piece of that table as a guide to know where I was going to need to screw these brackets into this wooden tray. I secured one of the sides down first before adding the part that kind of makes it retractable, and then securing all of the other screws in place, making sure that they were nice and level. Before painting it, I just wanted to make sure that it was functioning kind of how I thought it was going to, and that it wouldn't be too top heavy, and thankfully it wasn't. It folded up very well. And then for paint, I just wanted to keep it nice and modern, so I went in with some satin spray paint. I did 4 coats total just because of all of the pleats on that top section there. Another kind of detail thing, I wanted to kind of make it feel more like a bar cart, so I added these caster wheels, and that really wraps it up for this one. I like that this is something that I can use year round, and I can fold it up when it's not actually in use, but that if I need it, I have it readily available. Moving along now into console tables or entryway tables. So many beautiful options at ARHAUS. I love the black stain on them, but again, just a little over budget for me. Jumping over now to my mom's space. So for her entryway section, I told her that her mirror either needs to be smaller or her table needs to be bigger. So I've kind of been keeping my eyes out for both. And over the last month, I came across 2 kind of credenza sideboard tables that I thought would work well in her space without having to change the mirror. I ended up finding this one here, and it was just $18. The only kind of, I guess, like problem with it was this bottom shelf here was very warped. So I looked up a couple hacks trying to see if I could figure something out. Some people said that you can soak, if it's wood, you can soak it and then kind of place something heavy on either side to kind of unwarp it. So after I tried to kind of unwarp this piece here, it was obviously not successful because it is still very warped. So I had this in my stash here, and what we're gonna do is basically just take some measurements from here, apply it to this board, and basically just like redo the whole thing. However, I understand like not everybody has a circular saw and the ability to kind of do these things. So if you find a piece of furniture that just one piece is warped, you can just omit that piece, and that entryway table could just basically stand on its own. It doesn't necessarily need a shelf. For my mom's space, I wanted it to have one, so that is why we are doing it this way. Before staining or painting it, I just wanted to make sure that it was fitting in that slot well, gave it a good sand, and I actually really liked that it was already like a black stained piece of furniture, so I kind of just kept on with that. Used this black gel stain by Minwax, and then for the top, there was just a couple issues. There was like some watermarks from like cups and things like that, so I just basically gave it a scuff sand, wiped off the sand dust, and then gave it 1 coat of gel stain to the top there as well. Added and secured the shelf down to the bottom, then sealed it with some polyacrylic, changed up the hardware so it fits my mom's space a little bit better. Because I had the gel stain and the plywood and all of the other supplies besides the hardware, I did buy that new from Lowe's, and that was $7. So $25 total for a new entryway table is a pretty good price point. Now for the styling of this table. Let's talk about ceramics and vases. When you're in ARHAUS, everything feels very collected and artisanal almost. I think that they source from a lot of different artists around the world. So the key here is really like a collected feeling, right? So don't even look at the price, just add it to the cart and just make like a dream shopping cart. And then when you go to the Goodwill bins or you go to whatever thrift store you like to go to, and you can have a really like clear idea of things that you're looking for. I am a lover of brass and gold. I loved this vase here. It was $15 at the Goodwill, which is more than I'm usually willing to spend, but it was tagged for originally $95. It was super heavy, felt like it was very good quality. Another thing to kind of keep in mind too is if you're short on budget and space, making sure that the items that you're choosing can either be repurposed in different ways or that they're strong enough to stand on their own. Of course, I love a fishbowl vase for florals. I put tulips in here for Easter and it was beautiful. But then let's say I'm hosting something and I want to use this for some sort of champagne situation, fill it with ice, pop the champagne in there, and it makes for a really beautiful moment. Another thing I loved was this shell planter, but $179 on sale is just a little steep for something that is more seasonal. So when I found this at the Goodwill bins, it was originally from Kirkland's. Of course, you can use this as a planter, but you can also just use it as like a catch-all bowl during the summer months and it would still be really beautiful. Finding sculptural ceramics like these are really great because again, they can stand on their own, but you can also fill them with plants or florals to make an even bigger impact. Now bringing all of our thrifted pieces together for a very collected kind of feel, and all of these pieces I think complement each other very well, but it was done so on such a tight budget. Speaking of budget friendly, as I mentioned earlier, this video is kindly sponsored by ThredUp. If you're not familiar, ThredUp is the largest online thrift and consignment store inspiring the world to shop secondhand, which you guys know I am a huge advocate for, especially when it comes to home decor. But when it comes to clothing, ThredUp makes it so easy to find high quality, unique secondhand items at unbeatable prices. For example, I love the quality of Zara clothing, but definitely not the retail prices. So I found this Zara bodysuit for just $23.99 on ThredUp and these Zara pants for just $19.99. This is the perfect outfit for layering. Spring here in Ohio can be a bit chilly in the morning, so I found this super cozy Ann Taylor cardigan for just $11.99 on ThredUp, but retails for $48. This is the perfect outfit for just like running around with my kids, but I can definitely dress this up with like a blazer and heels or dress it down with a sweatshirt, which is basically what you guys see me in when I'm working on projects. I found this Champion sweatshirt on ThredUp for under $10, but retails for over $30. But my favorite way I think to use ThredUp is more like for special events. So for example, I found this Zara jumpsuit that was brand new with tags for just $36.99, but retails for $75. Paired it with these low heels I found on ThredUp for just $20.99, added my little bunny earrings, and this was the perfect outfit for this past Easter Sunday. And later on this spring, I have this event that we have to go to that everyone has to wear pink. So ThredUp makes it so easy because you can filter by size, by condition, by color. Found this Zara romper for just $22.99, retails for over $50. And if you guys are interested, you guys can shop my favorites on ThredUp in the link in the description box below and use my code FIA to get 35% off plus free shipping on your first order. So kind of like the vases, when it comes to your large scale artwork pieces, just kind of keep that in your mind when you're at the thrift store. So then that way, you know, maybe it needs a modification of a different coat of paint, or maybe it just needs a floating frame. But there's so many ways to kind of modify pieces at the thrift store to make them feel very current and fresh. So this is the wall clock that I ended up finding at the Hartville thrift shop, and they had charged me $21.50 for it, but then I used my coupon card, so it was even a little bit cheaper than that. When I was like very much in my farmhouse era, I actually owned something that looked really similar to this and donated it eventually to the thrift store. So I have a different idea though. I think when you have something that looks like this, maybe a lot of you have this and you feel you've just kind of like outgrown that kind of farmhouse look. I think it's more or less what you put behind this clock that will have it swing either way. So like this clock painted in a matte black on like a shiplap wall, of course will read very farmhouse. But if you have something that's like an aged brass behind it, wood behind it, leather behind it, all of a sudden now it becomes more current, I feel, changes the direction of this wall art piece. So I loved this piece here from ARHAUS, but again, almost $500, a little bit over budget. So I went to Hobby Lobby, I went in their kind of leather fabric section. All of the fabric was 40% off. I ended up choosing this one. In hindsight, I kind of wish I would have picked the one above it, but we're just gonna roll with it. So this is the fabric that I ended up choosing, and it was just about $20 for all of this fabric, and I have so much left over. I went to the Dollar Tree and I grabbed 6 poster boards just so I would have kind of something to attach the fabric onto. I attached all of the boards with duct tape. Now, of course, you could use MDF and a circular saw if that's your preference. For me personally, I just wanted to keep this project in specific, very beginner DIY level, no power tools. I then realized I needed to make a section in the middle there so that way I would be able to kind of press the poster board inside, made sure that it fit well, and then I applied that poster board to our fabric so I knew how much I was going to need to remove. I cut the section out that I traced and applied a generous amount of Mod Podge to the poster board and attached the two pieces together. Nothing is really permanent here. If I'm ever in my farmhouse era again, I can just pull the leather off, but I think for now it brings it a little bit more up to date, gives it a more masculine feel, and I love the way this project turned out. Moving along now into lighting, I do feel that ARHAUS lighting tends to lean a little bit more modern. Love this little portable lantern here, but $849 is insane. So at the Hartville Thrift Shop, I found this much smaller wire lantern for just $2. So there's a lot of different ways you could kind of go with this. So you could add a chain like from the Dollar Tree, pop it in a tree with a solar light, or you could do a candle like they've shown here. You could also attach something to the top and make it almost like pendant lighting. I have these chargeable lights. I'll link these, they're from Amazon, but they are magnetic. So if you're using something that is metal, it will obviously stick to it. So same kind of deal here if you want more of like a sconce moment, charge it, stick it on there and attach it to your wall. Makes it look like it's hardwired, but it's not. Another thing I've been seeing for more like outdoor entertaining are these really cute solar lights. And I wanted to find something that I could maybe turn into a solar light. So I found two of these at the Hartville Thrift Shop for just $1 each. And all I'm going to do is from the Dollar General. The ones from the Dollar Tree were too big. So the ones from Dollar General are a little bit smaller, but they're only $1. And I'm just going to take the top section of those solar lights off and just E6000 them to the inside of what I'm assuming would be kind of like a candle holder. It has been raining basically every day here in Ohio, so I was not able to have these displayed outside, but I'm very excited to use these for some summer entertaining. Last but not least, textiles. I love that with ARHAUS textiles, they are very easily transitioned indoors as well. I loved this little green lumbar pillow, and then kind of in the section where there's like bed sheets and things like that, I found two of these. I'm not sure where they're originally from, but they were just 50 cents a piece. Washed, dried, ironed them, added my own inserts, and I think I'm able to really achieve a similar look, but on a budget. And that really wraps it up for today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments which find or project was your favorite. And also too, don't forget to check the description box below and use my code FIA to get 35% off plus free shipping on your first ThredUp order. With all that being said, I hope you guys are doing amazingly well, and I will see you guys back here next Sunday. Bye for now.